we looked at the big picture. We looked at how, you know, everything works in concert with one another. And that made sense to me from a human being standpoint, because oftentimes we try to isolate things in our lives. Like, this is just work stuff. This is just relationship box. This is my health box. And all that matters for my health is what I eat and how I work out. And, you know, they're intuitively and then personally, I found that there was just such a huge gap in um, how people were approaching health and wellness, and how, like, what true health really looks like. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And I didn't start that way at all. But what I found was that true health is very akin to, you know, true physical health is very akin to true financial health.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's hard to really ignore pieces and think that you've got the whole pie there, right? You know, you can have the best retirement plan in the world, and if you don't have health insurance and you get, you know, hurt really bad, like, that's going to be that's a big gap, right? You know, and so I think with a lot of us, we may be doing a lot of things right physically, but there's big gaps or low hanging fruit, so to speak, that we're really potentially missing. And it's a fun process to try to identify that with people, and then see how much difference things can make in a short period of time. And the missing link was story work. It
Yes.
really truly was.
Happy Friday, youth developer. I'm excited to introduce my dear friend, also a level 3 coach, Ready Dave, aka, Dave Robinson, but we like to call him Ready Dave. Dave, welcome to the youth developer. Dave, where are you? It looks beautiful behind you.
Thank you. I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm in a park, Ryan Park, which is in walking distance from my house. And I just love being in nature in general,
Yeah.
and decided to be out here and soak in some sun and some beautiful, you know, outdoors. So
Yeah, and we've been chatting before the interview, and you took me for a walk, so I feel like I got my workout already.
that's a great business. Like, hey,
Uh-huh.
walk with Dave. You don't have to walk. You can just kind of see it, you know.
I love it. Walk with Dave sounds really nice.
It
You
does
know
sound
what?
nice. It does
I'm
sound nice.
liking
I
that.
know.
I'm liking
Yeah.
that. We might end the
Creation.
interview by you walking.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
In
There's
case
a
your
garden
hands,
right around the corner. Yeah.
yeah, in case your hands start hurting and you need to get home or something. So that should be fun. So Dave, thank you for coming to the Youth Developer. Here we believe that the best form of youth development is by us, the adults, living life to the full. So let's stop putting all this pressure on the youth, right, to be the future. Let us use our God-given potential, our strength, and to live life to the full, where our children can see, you know what, she's having fun, he's having fun, I'm inspired to do the same thing. So thank you for being in our channel. It means the world to me, especially because you are an Elliptic coach. And So Dave, tell us, how did you, I don't know this story, but how, I know you and Mark know each other for a long time. Is that correct?
That is. We met about 4 years ago, I guess now, early 2017.
Mm, okay. How did you guys meet? I know your neighbor because you guys are in the same city.
Close. So he actually went to a rival high school of mine, just 10 years or so ahead of me, maybe a little more. I don't know. I don't want to give away ages too much, but
He's 44. He's fine with it.
yeah. All right. So 11 years ahead of me, whatever. I'm 33. Um, Mark and I met at a networking event that is actually a very unique organization in Richmond. It's called Synapse, and Synapse essentially marries traditional business networking with what they call nonprofit partnership. And so, you know, each networking group is centered around a Richmond nonprofit, and they bring in speakers, and the nonprofit always has a chance to tell what they're doing, and it's a great group. um, Mark spoke and, had his 10-minute spiel, and I gave my 2-minute spiel at the time. And afterwards I just thought to myself, man, I got to meet this guy.
Yeah.
Right. I got to talk to him. Let's go out to lunch. So we grabbed Thai food and started hanging out, and, built a relationship from there. And I got involved with Enlifted when they launched at PaleoFX in Austin, Texas in 2019.
You were there, Dave?
Yeah, I was there. I was part of the Enlifted. Yeah. We probably spoke to one another.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So you signed up at PaleoFX?
No, so I was part of the Enlifted team with Mike and Pascal and Mark and Avery and Brian Muka, and all those folks were there helping launch the Enlifted brand, which was super cool.
Yeah, I mean that booth was the biggest booth in the whole PaleoFX.
It was huge.
It was huge. You guys really took that space in there.
For sure. And we had tracksuits, for the last day. We enjoyed ourselves as we always do, and as we've both come to learn through this past year, really. But I had an opportunity to start the Storywork coaching process after I completed level 1 back in May of 2020. So I had a big transition period, as all of us did, with COVID and otherwise, and so I was able to shift gears and really fall into something that I think has been not only profoundly helped my life personally, but I've seen it work with peers like yourself, and I've seen it change many clients' lives as well. So it's been a really amazing year or so journey to this point for all of us.
Yeah. For sure. 2020.
Exciting.
2020 was our year. I mean, I'm loving 2021. 2020 was the foundation on the seeds, right? And 2021 seeing the fruit already. So it's really nice. You know who else was in PaleoFX? Was Kayla. Kayla and I were in the same room that Mike Bledsoe and Mark gave a presentation with Strong Coach. And
awesome.
That's how I met Mark. I was negation acknowledged, not supposed to be in that class because I was done with the first one. And when I got back, it was so packed. There were so many people in that room that I was all the way in the back. And, Mark talked about, the words that you tell yourself behind closed doors. And I was like, oh, how did he know?
It's planting mics.
Oh, yeah. I tell people, and I tell him that he ninja my brain. That's exactly what it felt to me. Ninja.
Language ninjas.
Exactly. Shout out to Kristen.
Shout out to Kristen. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome, Dave. So you've been doing this work full-time 2 years now. Is that true?
So I've been a holistic coach since end of 2017 full-time. I left a 7-year financial planning career to go into personal coaching. And the Storywork practice has been since June of 2020. Yeah, so it's been almost a full year. But I'm on a mission for 1,000 sessions. Minimum. Yeah. So yeah.
That's awesome. So what's the transition from financial to holistic?
So the way that I was lucky enough to be brought up in the financial planning world was in comprehensive financial planning. So it wasn't just individual product sales, though that was a piece of it. But we looked at the big picture. We looked at how everything works in concert with one another. And that made sense to me from a human being standpoint, because oftentimes we try to isolate things in our lives. Like, this is just work stuff. This is just relationship box. This is my health box. And all that matters for my health is what I eat and how I work out. And, they're intuitively, and then personally, I found that there was just such a huge gap in how people were approaching health and wellness, and how, like, what true health really looks like. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And I didn't start that way at all. But what I found was that true health is very akin to, true physical health is very akin to true financial health.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to really ignore pieces and think that you've got the whole pie there, right? You can have the best retirement plan in the world, and if you don't have health insurance and you get, hurt really bad, like that's going to be that's a big gap, right? And so I think with a lot of us, we may be doing a lot of things right physically, but there's big gaps or low-hanging fruit, so to speak, that we're really potentially missing. And it's a fun process to try to identify that with people and then see how much difference things can make in a short period of time. And the missing link was story work.
Yes.
It really truly was, because what I found is, for myself, I was nailing a lot of those health factors. I'm just getting the steps and getting the water in, and getting the sunlight in, and managing my technology, and eating clean and moving well and all those things. But I hadn't fully dealt with the head and the heart stuff, and the story, right? I fixed the language. And so, having that knowledge, learning that knowledge, and then being able to apply it made such a difference. And so, I've really found that the integration of story work into a holistic, healthy habits practice has been really helpful for a lot of people.
That's a holistic habit practice. That is key. That is key. That's at the heart. And like you said, I love it how you call it missing link. Jimmy and I call it the missing thread, or that thread right there in the whole wheel. And he's a lot more into finances. However, I picked up, I don't know if you know Profit First, the book.
Great book. I haven't read it, but I've heard principles of it. Very good book.
It's changing our world. So I knew it was in our bookshelf since 2017. We won that at a raffle at a conference, and it collected dust for all these years.
As books do.
Yeah, and the timing of it, I trust, and now very open, especially with language, because there were many stories about money, which I don't know if this video will be after May Cinco de Mayo. I know Mark is doing a money workshop or money stories workshop. So I'm grateful that, our journeys. So for you, it looks like it started with the financial, and at the same time, you've always had your eyes in the health world. Is that true? Like the health and wellness?
Very, very similar. It's really interesting because to keep a very long story short, I went to school for my freshman year for business finance, and I couldn't do the math. And so I changed majors to history. So I was going to be a high school history teacher.
Oh, wow.
And then April of my senior year, I decided not to pursue my master's in education. And I took an opportunity. I was very into powerlifting at the time. And I took an opportunity to be a full-time strength and conditioning coach at the University of Richmond. So I interned there and learned a ton about comprehensive, strength and conditioning. And a year after I graduated college, I found that financial planning firm. And so I was a coach, and then I tried to have a career and get the job and, follow the path and yada, yada, yada. And, ultimately found my way back into coaching after a period of time. So
that's cool. And I love all the not feedback, all the wisdom that you've shared in both level 2 and level 3. I've seen all your calls because I actually watch all the calls.
That's awesome. That's great.
I made it like my mission to do that as I get to know you guys better.
That's awesome.
And then we get to learn. I'm a better coach because of the call. So I know I've had 3 coaching calls with Mark. However, every time I watch a video, it's another coach on top of another coaching session with Mark. So thank you for your session.
Thank you. Thank you. No problem.
That has helped me as well. So I know we were talking earlier about your program that you're coming up with. It's called Design Your Change. That is a really cool title. Tell us a little bit about this course that you're facilitating.
I'm really excited about it. It's a 3-week course, and what I've come to realize is many of us, almost all of us, undergo changes, right? We can even fair to say all of us undergo changes, right? And much of that is often unintentional. And so, if we're gonna change, why not design pieces of it? Why not, take control over some aspects? And many times, the aspects that we can't control are more or have a greater influence than we think. So, what we're doing is we're taking 3 weeks, and it's the second, third, and fourth Mondays of every month. So we're starting June 10th, I believe it is.
14th, right?
14th. Yep, you're right. You're right. June 14th. June 14th. And first week is changing our relationship to our past. So it's a lot of story work. It's a lot of, diving into the words that we use, how they influence us, and how we can start to take back control, right? Week 2 is changing your relationship to your present. And what are some of those low-hanging fruit, really very potentially simple and yet, not always easy, but simple things that people can do to really upgrade their health a couple points out of their 1 to 10 scale pretty dramatically and quickly. Those strategies behind all those things that we discussed earlier. And it's small wins. Yeah, exactly. And those small wins really compound. Not only do they add, but they compound over time. And so week 3 is about changing and designing your future. And frankly, that's the most fun for me because I'm a true believer in a couple things. There's no such thing as an unrealistic goal or dream, just maybe a merely unrealistic timeline. And you can do anything you want. Maybe not everything, but you can do anything. So I'm a big believer in taking control of your future and getting very specific as far as what you want to create in your life and how you want to live your life on a regular basis. And many of us, are resigned to either the change that is occurring, or many of us are resigned to, hey, this is just the way that it is, and it's never going to change, quote unquote. And yet, again, especially with things that have yet to occur, we're in way more control of that than many people realize. And so we get really specific with our words and start to plan. So it's a 3-week course. It's $99, and it's a great intro into personal development, into language, into health and fitness. And, I found it to be really fun.
Yeah. Are these group coaching calls on Zoom?
Yep. Group coaching calls on Zoom.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they could be from anywhere.
Anywhere.
But that's pretty neat that, with your 3 weeks, I know you said control, you're a big believer on controlling your life. What books influence you for this belief or philosophy?
Great question. Books that come to mind that I read earlier on in my process were The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, which is a great book. Vagabonding, which is The Uncommon Guide to the Art of Long-Term World Travel by Rolf Potts.
Wait a minute, what's the title of that again?
Start with Vagabonding, Vagabonding. And the secondary title is I believe something along the lines of The Uncommon Guide to the Art of Long-Term World Travel.
That is pretty cool.
And then Turning Pro by Steven Pressfield has been very influential to me, as well as, oh man, I can't forget this one. I'll end here. There's a lot of great books, but Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins was the best book I've ever read.
Wow.
Can't Hurt Me.
One.
Hands down.
And who's the author again?
David Goggins.
Do you like it because his name is David? Ready, David?
Maybe he gets a fractional point for that, but it is really a truly fantastic and inspirational story. And there are people in our lives called expanders, right? People who are, there's a real definition of an expander, but my definition is, someone who is influential and to me personally, and that it's someone who I can connect with, identify with, comes from a situation that is equal to mine or potentially less advantageous to me, and still accomplish their goals through adversity and otherwise. And I could see myself, pieces of myself within this individual, you know. David Goggins is definitely an expander for me personally. So
wow, maybe close to corner man in a way.
he is my corner man.
Ooh.
That's that's when we did the corner man exercise, like Goggins is my corner man. So that's a great observation. Yeah, 100%.
Dave, what is your song? I don't remember. What's your song from
So I come out to the Rocky theme song. That was
that's right. I love it.
It's a personal favorite of Goggins as well. So I felt like, you know, if he has the influence, you know, so why not?
Yeah. That's right. That's awesome. Where can people reach you for your program for Create Your Change? I'm loving.
Yeah.
So I love the word design. So you had
Thank
me
you.
at design. I'm like, yes,
awesome.
Where?
Awesome. So the Design Your Change course is on workyourstories.com. Workyourstories.com. That's my story work coaching website. And then I'm online on social media at Get Strapped, Stay Strapped.
Oh, tell us a little bit about that title for your Instagram, please.
Yes. So Stay Strapped was kind of like peace, or like have a good one, or you know, it was our parting moniker amongst my friends, a group of friends in high school and in college. And you know, it like, if you might have heard of a strapping young lad, or someone, you know, who has like nice arms, nice gums, right? So that would be someone who's strapped. So
got it.
Get there and stay there.
I like it. You still hang out with your high school and college friends? Are you still in that circle?
I still hang out with some of my best friends, are guys that I've, you know, grown up 5 houses down from since I was 8 years old, or went to high school with. I've got a wonderful circle here in my hometown, and frankly, I have two good friends from college. Wow. One was my roommate all 4 years. The other was my roommate for my senior year, and that's it. So everyone else is high school. So, or, you know, obviously friends that I've made and contacts that I've made since then. But I'm really lucky to have a great circle of guys and girls who go way back that, you know, we've been able to continue to stay in contact throughout everything, and, you know, continue to help each other grow. And it's cool to see what everybody's doing now.
Yeah. And 2020 has, I mean, in my circles, I started doing the gratitude calls on Instagram. From that challenge. You know, I love taking challenges. Challenge? Yes, I'll do it.
Love it.
And I do know that gratitude shift my marriage, shift my business. And so when he said, hey, I want to thank you for following, I was like, yes, I mean that. I want to thank people for following me. So one of the things that came up for me was getting in touch with people that I know from the YMCA, or back in the days.
Right.
And many people are, because of 2020, they don't call it their business, but they're saying my side gig. So they still have their full-time jobs, and then a lot of people are having side gigs, and it gets me excited because I want to work with moms who either have a full-time job and have a side gig, or homeschool moms, or moms that stay at home that also do baking and things like that. So it was so nice. It's really nice to reconnect. I myself lived in 22 places, Dave. So
wow.
I'm a little jelly about your high school friends.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I can understand a lot of moving around.
Oh yeah,
But that means you've got friends in a lot of places,
that's true.
and maybe you haven't spent as much time with each one of them individually, but they're more spread out. So
Yeah, and because of now technology, I get to connect with people regardless. So
right,
I went to
exactly.
4 high schools, Dave. So I have no idea about high school. What do you call it? The high school pride that people talk about? I'm
Right,
like,
right.
not really.
Well, it's really funny. I'll tell a quick funny story about Mark. And I ended up so he went to Midlothian High School, right? And I went to Monacan High School. They're probably 10 minutes apart. Different neighborhoods, different group of kids, et cetera, et cetera. And from a sports standpoint, we were big rivals. The I ended up my senior year making a T-shirt that said "Breathe if you hate Midlow" on the front, and on the back it had our school name, the Chiefs, and then like a little tiny thing in the bottom. It said, "Friends don't let friends go to Midlothian High School." And I sold those in orange, which was our color. I sold about 100 of them at lunch over 2 days, and then the principal came and was like, "Hey, you can't do this." And I was like, "All right, my bad."
I love
So what I
it.
did,
That was
it
your
was
side
great.
gig.
That was my side gig. And then there was another high school, James River. So I did the exact same T-shirt. I changed Monacan to James River and the colors to purple, and sold them outside of the Midlothian James River homecoming game, which was at James River. And I sold a box of 100 T-shirts in an hour, dipped out of there,
Wow.
and just spread anti-Midlothian hate. Hate all throughout Richmond, Virginia. So, I've grown a lot as a human being since then. I don't have the hate or the pettiness that I used to, potentially have. And it's a funny story to tell 20 years later.
You still have a shirt? You should wear that for
I
Mark.
could, I need to go. I've still got like a box of stuff at my parents' place. I imagine it's in like a high school closet or something
Yeah,
like that.
somewhere in
Yeah.
there. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Was that in the early 2000s or 90s when you went to high school?
Early 2000s.
Early
Yeah.
2000s. Okay. I'm the same age as Mark. So I went to
Nice.
high school in the 90s. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
I mean, you
nice.
could tell. I mean, I have a few of my
You could tell my grades here too. They're coming in. They're coming in. It's all right. Take
It's
my
all
hat
good.
off and really prove it. It's all
I
good.
call it wisdom. It's
It is.
wisdom.
We're leveling up. I don't
Exactly.
believe in ages. I believe in levels. Every time you level up, you get even wiser. You get a boost from the universe. So it's great.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you, Dave, so much for sharing your story. Thank you for letting us know about Design Your Change. Youth developer, Dave said it. We are going to be changing. And so why not be intentional
Yes.
about that change? And I love how you broke it down, Dave, into relationship with your past, present, and future. I
Thank you.
know Mark loves to say, you got to take all the garbage out first to in order to celebrate the wins. And in my goal setting, I also do my second half, which is small wins, because it's that snowball effect that keeps growing, win after win after win. So I love it that it's in 3 weeks. The website link, it's right here. It's showing up in front of your screens right now to go register with Ready Dave. You can tell him that
Ready, Dave.
you are listening to the youth developer. Please let him know that Y Superstars send you. Is that the right thing?
That's
Connected
it.
you.
Connected. We'll say connected. Yeah, that works.
Exactly.
That works.
Please let Ready Dave know that you met him here at the Youth Developer, which is part of Y Superstars. Dave, thank you so much. I'm loving your background. I'm inspired. We have a second interview with Ashley. Ashley's coming on the show as well. Yeah,
Fantastic.
it's going to be a May of level 3 coaches for the Youth Developer. So,
wow, that's going to be a big month of leveling up.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And your program starts June 14th. So make sure you register before. I mean, I don't know if you have a deadline, but his website will have all the latest details.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, and you're gone. Okay, now you're back.
No, I'm back. 100%. You're absolutely correct.
All right, youth developer. As always, healthy us, healthy children. Bye, Dave.
See you.